The Motor Dream podcast is recorded on Camaragal land of the Eora Nation. It always was and always will be the lands of the First Nations of Australia.
This is the Motor Dream podcast.
Hi everyone, and a very happy Easter to you all. I'm Connor McNally, and welcome to this special episode of the Motor Dream podcast, the show where we can dream just a little about what our dream garage would be if money was no issue whatsoever. Now, at the end of the last episode featuring Emma Nedoff, I did mention that I would feature two-times and defending TCR Australia champion Josh Buchan as my guest. But I'm going to hold off on that until the next episode because this weekend marks the 9th running of the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. And only last week, I got to sit and chat with a driver who was hoping to create a little Bathurst endurance racing history. Before we dive into the show proper, here's a premise of what this show is all about, especially for our new listeners. I tell my guests that one day they wake up to discover that they've received a text telling them to check their bank balance. They open up their bank app and they suddenly discover that they're instant billionaires. As soon as they discover their newfound fortune, they get an email from this mystery benefactor that tells them that they can spend anything that they like and they can buy any car, bike or machine that they want. There is a catch though. They are only allowed 3 cars, bikes or machines in their dream garage. It sounds easy in theory, but trust me, as my previous guests have discovered, it is very, very difficult to decide. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast itself on your favourite podcast platform, and be sure to leave a review and tell us what you think of the show. Also, be sure to follow us on our socials, which we'll tell you more about at the end of the show. Now, my guest on this episode reached out to me earlier this year after announcing that she would be entering the Bathurst 6 Hour with her dad on social media. This was significant in the history of endurance racing at Bathurst because there's only been one attempt of a father-daughter combination attempting to qualify and race at Bathurst. This happened in 1993 when Ray Gulson and his daughter Tania, along with Ray's son Graham, attempted to create history in that year's Bathurst 1000. History would show that Tania failed to reach the 107% qualifying cut in their ex-JPS BMW 635. And it wouldn't be much better in the race for Ray and Graham, with the pair failing to complete the sufficient laps required to be classified as a finisher. Fast forward 32 years, and young Queenslander Annabelle Rolfo is hoping to successfully conquer the feat that eluded the Gulsons. Partnering with her father Carlos, himself a former production car racer and super touring privateer from the late 1990s, the Rolfos have entered a new model Toyota GR86 for the 6 Hour with substantial support from Carbiz, who have enthusiastically gotten behind the father-daughter partnership. Annabelle is relatively new to circuit racing, but not new to the sport itself. She got bitten by the competitive bug when she was taken to the hire karts in Noosa at the age of 10, and she quickly followed in her dad's footsteps, winning the Cadet 12 class at the 2017 Australian Ladies Trophy in Lithgow, New South Wales. She remained competitive at the top level of karting until she graduated to circuit racing a few years ago. Starting out in the Radical Australia Cup, she quickly moved across to Queensland Prod Sports, purchasing a Toyota 86. She also competed in the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship and has already completed vital race laps around Mount Panorama in the annual Challenge Bathurst event held every November. And now she's embarking on the biggest race of her life so far, racing in what many colloquially call the ultimate Showroom Showdown. Whilst Annabelle has aspirations to further her career here and potentially overseas, she's also carving out a career in law, working as a paralegal with a goal to become a lawyer once she graduates from university. When I spoke to Annabelle 1 week out from the 6 Hour, her team was still working away on the GR86, finishing last-minute preparations. So although they were burning the midnight oil to get the car ready, Annabelle was excited to head to the mountain to tackle it on the Easter weekend. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy my chat with Annabelle Rolfo. Annabelle Rolfo, welcome to the Motor Dream podcast. Thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
And I know you're excited right now because we are talking to you a week out from the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour.
Yeah.
And you're about to embark on a little bit of Bathurst history should it actually happen. you and your dad, Carlos, who was once a super touring privateer back in the late 90s, you and him are about to go and create potentially Bathurst history as the first father-daughter combination to qualify and potentially finish a Bathurst endurance race, which has not been done in a very long time, more than 30 years, in fact. So no pressure on you, but how excited are you about...
Right.
Oh, no pressure, but how excited are you?
Yeah, no pressure. Not like it's my first race at Bathurst or anything like that either. But no, I am very excited. It's been a long time coming. We were hoping to do it last year, but things got in the way with work and stuff, so we didn't have like the means to do it. But now, it's like right around the corner. It's becoming very real, which is like nerve-wracking. So
the only reason why I say no pressure is that we have to go back to 1993. So we'll give a history.
Back in the dinosaur ages.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
I wasn't even a concept then.
Exactly. I was 13 when it happened. That's giving away my age here. I know, it's disgusting. Anyway, I digress. We're going back to 1993. The first year, the Bathurst 1000 was V8s only, although it did have BMWs and the likes back then. But the history was there was a family from Canberra that did attempted to qualify for the Bathurst 1000, a father, son and daughter combination. So Ray Gulson, who's been around for many, many years, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but he entered his ex-JPS BMW 635 with his son Graham, who they'd done Bathurst a number of times. But they also entered the Ray's daughter, Tania, who was attempting to become, I guess, another female to qualify for the Bathurst 1000. But to create history as the first father, son and daughter combination, unfortunately for Tania, she didn't qualify for the event. Ray and Graham did. And unfortunately, whilst they qualified, they didn't finish the race. They didn't complete enough laps. So, as I said, there's no pressure, but it's a very different race altogether. 6 hours around the mountain in a standard production car, not too many modifications, and the technology has come a long way since 1993. So history might be on your side here.
I'm hoping it is. Well, I'm not even hoping. I'm very optimistic. I haven't even considered the fact that we might not finish. It's not an idea in my brain. To me, we're going to finish and we're going to win. So I'm trying to manifest it, be optimistic. We put in a lot of hard work for this. So I'm hoping that the hard work translates into a good outcome.
Absolutely. And you're competing in probably one of the most...
biggest.
The biggest class in the Bathurst 6 hour, the production class. And just looking at the entries, we have got about more than a dozen cars in the field. Majority of them are Toyotas, Mazdas, the RX-8s.
There's a V Volkswagen in there as well.
A Volkswagen Polo, Subaru BRZs, which are basically the same car as a Toyota 86. Yeah, they share the same componentry. Got a BMW 125 in there. I mean, that is a big entry list, in what was going to be, what was originally 72 cars, but it will now be 71 following the withdrawal of one of the Chevrolet Camaros. But it's a big field and in one of the biggest classes in the race. You seem pretty confident that you could potentially win this.
I'd like to have I've always struggled a little bit. I haven't raced cars very much. I only started racing at the end of last year, so I haven't had a lot of experience in the whole racing aspect. But this is a really big event for me. It's going to be my first big race. I've done club round stuff, like state round stuff, but this is my first national event. So I put in a lot of hard work to get where I am in terms of my physical fitness. Obviously we've built the car for it, and then I've done a lot of simulator training as well. So I'm really hoping for a good outcome. And I think that it's definitely possible. There's nothing prohibiting Dad and I from winning the race. It's just, whatever happens on the day happens. But I think we've put in the hard work so that we have the means to win it.
You've as you mentioned in your answer just then, you're building a brand new car, and in fact, it's still being built as we are recording this. It's almost complete, but it's you're burning the midnight oil to actually get it done. It is a Toyota 86, a GR86 that you've built.
Yes.
Explain to us how you acquired the car and where the inspiration came to build this car specifically for the Bathurst 6 hour.
My mechanic, Brendan Prescott, he's done a lot of work with cars over the years, and he's very odd in the fact that like he's to go to bed, he will read the sup regs for races. I don't understand why we were at a race one time and he was like, oh yeah, before bed last night I was reading the sup regs, and I was like, do you have a hobby like other than motorsport? Like you're reading the sup regs before bed, are you insane? But I love his commitment to it. It's fantastic.
Can I recommend you actually do read the sup regs, because it might help. It goes a long way.
Oh, it does. It has definitely gone a long way. So I learned a lot from him in the short time. But he mentioned that this year they were changing the sup regs so that GR86s could race in with the regular 86s, and obviously there's the massive like advantage. It's a 2.4 liter instead of a 2 liter, so you've got what, like 40 to 60 more horsepower. So we knew that if there were going to be any GR86s in the race against our the older 86, the 2 liter, there'd be no chance. Like they'd gap you straight away. So we kind of had to make the decision. We didn't know whether there would be any 2.4 litres or any GRs, but at the time we were thinking about it, we were looking, one came up on Facebook Marketplace that was a repairable write-off, and we saw it and we were like, we've got the opportunity, like it's just right there in front of us and we've got to take it. If we're going to do it, like we're going to do it, Definitely added a lot more stress onto the whole process, but I think it's been a good experience for all of us. Obviously, Brendan has had to work very hard because at the moment the car's down in Coffs Harbour. That's where he's based, but it goes between Brisbane and Coffs Harbour quite often. So there's been a lot of driving involved to get it ready. It's definitely been it's stressful, importing parts, and then we've had to, expand the budget a lot to be able to build it as well. But yeah, it was kind of like a decision we had to make as to whether we wanted to have a chance at actually winning. And if we did, we'd need one of these cars. Because, not knowing if there's going to be any other ones, the advantage they have is so much more compared to the 2 litres. So
technically, what is more superior over the original 86? Obviously, it is a brand new model. The GR86 is now being used in the GR Cup that supports the Supercars Championship. But explain to us what are the advantages over the original 86?
Well, I mean, bigger brakes. The main, obviously, one is the engine. The engine is a lot larger. So the original 86 is a 2 litre and the GR86 is a 2.4 litre. And I think it just has the capacity to do so many more upgrades to it, in a sense, to like maximize the drivability of it. Like I know we've put in different suspension in it, obviously compared to, because when we got it, it was a road car, it was stock. So we had to rip it all out, put a roll cage in it. I think it did end up being a lot more expensive than we intended it to be. Still cheaper than buying one that was already a race car. But yeah, so I'm not 100% sure, like I'm not going to lie, I'm not 100% sure of all of the differences. Yeah. But the one thing I do know is it's going to go a lot faster in a straight line. So,
and of course, bigger engine means much faster, especially when you go
bigger everything.
Exactly,
yeah.
Especially when you go across the top of the mountain and then down.
Exactly, onto Conrod. Yes. So, considering in the regular 86, I think I was pushing like 230 on Conrod. To feel the difference in the new car is going to be. I'm excited to go faster.
You look excited. I can see it in your face, your eyes. It's like you're champing at the bit to actually get involved. And I know your dad has done production car racing, so he's done all this before. Has he been a calming influence on you to say, hey, everything's going to be okay? I've done this before. We'll go there and we'll be okay.
No, he's worse than me in like the stress sense. We are very similar in a lot of ways, so we do butt heads a lot. Which our similarities are good because it means that we learn the same way when we're driving, like we can communicate, but we're both a bit of like stress heads. So we're both always like trying to make sure we're perfectionists as well. So we want everything to be perfect, everything to be ready. So no, he hasn't been a calming influence at all. Probably the opposite, to be honest. Sometimes he stresses me out more and I'm just like, Dad, just shut up. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. So.
He is Chilean, isn't he? Is that correct?
He's Uruguayan.
Oh, so the Latin
Yes.
American attitude comes out, the fiery temper and everything.
Oh my, I got that from him as well. When we butt heads and no one wants to be within like a 5 kilometer radius of it. Like we definitely have like the fire in us, that's for sure.
I don't doubt that. What's he like when it comes to football?
Oh, so before I started racing, we used to bond over football. So in primary school, I used to play football because,
We're
he
talking
did it.
we're talking soccer football, not
Yes, we're talking soccer. Yes. And he would come to all of my games. We're talking like primary school. Like I would have been in like year 3, year 4, and he is yelling on the sidelines what everyone should be doing. He's like, "Oh, no one knows how to do anything." And my mum was like, "Carlos, these are like what, 8-year-olds? Like, calm down. It's okay. We're not playing the World Cup right now. Like, this is a friendly game between 2 primary schools." Like, so yeah, he was always big into soccer. He'd be up in the middle of the night watching the World Cup, but I think now that has transitioned back into his love for motorsport. So
wow. And where did that love for motorsport come from for him? Like, where did he get that first passion to fall?
honestly, I have no idea. Like he always talks about how when he was younger, he loved racing. He'd sacrifice everything for racing. Like, he would be studying, working on the car, like paying for it all himself. Like he talks about it all the time, but I don't even like really know.
So you've never had a chance to talk to him about it?
No, I've never like thought to ask him, or like when I do think to ask him, I forget about it by the time I see him again. So because we don't live together, so I probably just forget. And he'd probably give me like some like, he's a very like monotone person. So he'll be like, I don't know, and then just like move on from the topic. He's a man of few words when he's talking to me, at least. But then again, he can also depends who's talking to him. Because I take it from him as well. I can chew the leg off a horse, and he can do the same thing. We both just talk so much shit. So,
so that leads me to the question to you: how did you get into motorsport? Was it through your dad, or was it just?
yes. Well, kind of. So I remember when I probably would have been about like 8 or 9. So every year we'd go to Noosa for a family holiday, and on the way back we went past the big kart track in Noosa. I don't know if it's still there anymore, actually. But we drove past it and we went in there, and Dad, don't tell me when I said this, Dad actually lied about my age. He said that I was 12 when I was like 10 so that I could go on the big track instead of just like the little circle. And I loved it. And I was like, can I go again? Can I go again? And then the next week we went to Kingston Park Raceway and he lied about my age again so I could go on the big karts. And then Mum was always like, you need to, because my mum and I are very, very close. And she was like to my dad, like, you need to do something with her so that you've got like a hobby that you can like, do things together. And then he came home one day and he was like, I bought us go-karts. And my mum was like, that's not what I was talking about in terms of a hobby. And he's like, well, it's happened. So the original plan was that we would race together. So I would race and then he would race. But as that went along, he realized he didn't have time to prepare both of our go-karts. So he took the sacrifice and then I raced. I still remember the first time going out it was in Cadet 9 when they had the Coma engines. It feels like this has been like 10 years ago now, I reckon.
And we're talking dinosaur age now. Like, forget my
Yes.
dinosaur.
This is my dinosaur
Exactly.
age. Like, it feels like the dinosaur age.
Yeah.
So we started there and just, did more testing, and then we started doing racing, and then I got older, so I went to Cadet 12 and then KA4, and then we started doing some Australian karting championship rounds. And it just kind of flourished from there, really.
That's an amazing, and then not only in the last couple of years, you've been doing circuit racing proper with a Toyota 86. You bought one, and you decided to do not just prod sports in Queensland, the Queensland State Championship for production sports cars, but you also did New South Wales production touring cars, which is the state level production car series, because that car that you were running was interchangeable in terms of the regulations. So was that a good grounding for you to learn about racecraft, moving away from karting and learning how to set up a car, learning the race lines, and just learning how to race against other competitors in a much bigger atmosphere, like on a proper racetrack?
Yeah, so I've only started the Toyota 86. We only got, I think it was last year it was either at like the start or middle of last year. So we only started driving then. Like we haven't had it for a long time. I did take a bit of a break between karting and cars, which looking back, I regret now, but things happen. And
Uni life and everything.
well, it was actually before this. This was during high school. So as soon as COVID hit, we obviously racing stopped for a bit, and then I got really, really sick and I was in hospital for a bit, so I
really?
couldn't race. Yeah. And then I came back and I was in year 12, so then I was like, oh my God, I'm a very like overachiever, so I wanted to get perfect grades. So it was just all at once. And then after high school finished, I like kind of was like, oh, I can do this again, and I can like progress up. Like we're in cars now. So we actually started off in a Radical SR3. We did a bit of testing in that. And then I said to Dad, I was like, it's fun, it's fast, but I really want to do like H pattern shift car. Like I want the hard shit. Like I don't want to do paddle shift. Like I want to learn proper racing, so that if I can race that, I can race anything. And he was like, oh my God, Annabelle, this is like such a good car. And I was like, well, guess what? I want to race this. So one of the girls who I used to race go-karts with, she had to stop racing. And so we bought her 86. And that's when we started in the 86. And yeah, now we're here. So I found it's good. It's a good it's a good car to learn in. I feel like it's very like technical. Like once you can drive that, it kind of like sets you up for the rest of like driving other cars. Definitely a very unique car to drive. It's very different to go-karts, which I learned very quickly. I had to change my driving style completely. Because when I was in go-karts, I was a super elbows out type of driver. So and because back then it wasn't real money to me. It was, parents are paying for it. It wasn't real. So I could just like do whatever I wanted. And now that I'm older, it's my money. It's real money. I'm a little bit more like, I was a bit more conservative to start with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to learn how to drive a bit more smoother and not just like throw it into the corners as much. That was definitely an eye-opening experience, but it has been a great car to learn in, and to learn like the basics of driving a race car. So
when you drove the Radical, what was the one thing that really stood out for you, like in terms of driving that car? And was it the mechanical grip? Was it the aerodynamic grip that really shocked you, or was it just not what you were expecting when you started to drive that car, and that's why you made the switch to the 86?
I loved it. Like I loved it. Was bloody fast. Like when the first time I got in, I was like, whoa. I was like, I need to work on my neck strength. Like Jesus, I wasn't expecting to be thrown back this much. But I think for me it was more like there weren't as many pathways with the Radicals. There is the Radical Cup, but there's not a lot of like young people coming through there. Well, when I was doing it, at least. Obviously now there are a few more, but when I was, going through, there weren't many young people. I didn't feel like it would be as beneficial as doing like driving in 86 in production cars for developing my racecraft and stuff like that. And having, more pathway, like, because, you can drive a Radical, but it's very different to driving a GT car, a supercar, a Super 2 car, anything like that, like the pathways you want to go to. So I felt like driving in an 86 would help better set me up for that pathway that I wanted to take, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. I also like the fact that you mentioned H pattern shift. That's something that's becoming more of a lost art as time goes on. As we move more towards electric vehicles, and they're all becoming like direct drives and everything. I love the fact that at your age, you're enthusiastic about driving a H-pattern gearbox, because you need that, particularly when you're doing motorsport. And I mean, H-patterns are not going to go away in motorsport, but there's nothing better, in my opinion, than shifting with a H-pattern, because you drive the car. That's what you get to do.
Exactly. And my personal car is a manual as well.
Oh, good.
H-pattern. So I don't know. I just really wanted to. I honestly don't really have like a good reason as to why I wanted to drive H-pattern. I just did. I was like, I want to, like it feels more like real motorsport to me, if that makes sense. Like it feels more like a lot more hard work, a lot more to focus on, and you've got to be able to like multitask better. And I just thought, one, I want to do it. Two, it's going to be better for like my skills. If that makes sense.
It certainly does. And particularly with Bathurst coming up, because it is a very demanding track. You have to treat it with the respect that it deserves. And
Yes.
you're doing it for 6 hours, which means you've got to do a lot of mechanical sympathy, being it's a standard production car. And you're not allowed to do too much to the car as well.
No, yeah.
So
Yeah.
for those that are not used to production car racing, obviously you can't do too much to it. But what are the regulations that allow you to modify?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure for the GR what the exact modifications are. Brendan talks to me about it all the time. He's like, we're ordering this, we're doing that, we're doing that. And sometimes I'm just like listening, but I'm not really listening. But I know for the the old car, we really didn't change too much. Just like intake, suspension. There was really no modifications to the engine to like increase the speed or anything. It was pretty stock. There's a very narrow window of what you can. I think we've only just now realized we could have put bigger brakes on the old car, which we didn't because we didn't know. Thank God Brendan reads the soft brakes when he goes to bed. Just little things like that. Like there's really can't chuck a turbo on it, unfortunately.
I can see the disappointment in your eyes.
I feel like as a race car driver, all you want to do is go faster. Because when you start like when I first started in the 86, it felt fast. Now it doesn't feel fast at all. Like I take people for hot laps when we do sponsorship days and stuff like that, and seeing how they get thrown around, and I'm like, I keep looking over. I'm like, it feels like we're going slow. Like I don't want them to think that we're going slow. Like I want them to think we're going fast. I look down and we're doing 120, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me. So
I've done track days. I've done hot laps as well. I know. I mean, it does feel fast. I remember actually doing a hot lap at Sydney Motorsport Park with Gavin Bullis, who used to race touring car masters back 10, 15 years ago. And it was quick. And he was driving a Subaru WRX as a production car. So it was all kitted out and everything. But that car was absolutely flying. And that's a standard car. No further modifications and everything. I'm thinking, he's hustling that thing. So...
Yep. And especially with Sydney Motorsport Park, that straight is long. So you can really build up the speed there. And then going around that first hairpin as well is a bit terrifying. So...
Do you have to sort of suck the guts in and go, here we go, through turn one?
Yeah, basically you've got to prepare yourself. I always do these ones before I get there, because I know I'm going to have to hold on for dear life. So
so have you they're all manicured and everything? Do you do the manicuring before the race?
I need to get my nails done. I'm getting them done before Bathurst. These ones are very old, but I get the manicure done. These are my natural nails as well.
Oh,
I've always
really?
been, yes, as much as I am really big into my cars and my race cars, I always have been, and I always will be a girl. So I there's nothing better than getting a photo taken and you can see my beautiful long lashes in the photo. Or I'm getting a photo taken and my nails are looking perfect. So, I mean, I'm probably the only one who notices it, but it makes me feel good. So, yeah.
As long as it makes you feel good, that makes you happy.
I like to have a balance of everything.
Of course. Now, as part of your preparation, you've obviously done a lot of training, physical training, going to the gym, getting a personal trainer, doing all that. But you've also been doing the sim work, so getting onto the sim and learning laps around Bathurst. Have you worked at how many laps you've done around Mount Panorama on the sim as yet, or have you just lost
I
track?
actually don't. I would have no idea. I'd have no idea. I do sim tests. I've been doing sim sessions with Luke from ATR Motorsports recently. So we do a 2-hour session a week, and then I try to jump on the sim wherever I can, whenever I have free time, because obviously my schedule is very busy at the moment. But sometimes I find myself going to sleep, imagining myself driving around the track. So
That's really cool. Tell us about your sim rig. Have you got a full-blown setup with the triple screens and the direct drive wheel and everything? What have you got?
Well, we don't have the triple screen, unfortunately. We only have one screen. Feels a little bit popo, because when I go to to the sim at ATR, they've got the full the one that curves around screen.
Ooh,
so
nice.
I know, I really want one of them, and I'd like to, because the sim is at Carbiz, at the office there, and I have recently changed jobs, so I'm not there as often, so I don't get to use it as much. So I want to get my own. But if I got my own, I'd definitely have the big screen set up. But yeah, we've got the full, I think it's a Next Level Racing frame, and then got it with the direct drive wheel. We only had paddle shift for a while, which was a little bit annoying, trying to practice my heel and toeing with paddle shift because it just doesn't work in your brain. It's like when you change gears, your foot automatically goes. So trying to teach myself to do that with paddle shift was not fun. But we've recently gotten a H pattern shifter so that I could, prepare better for Bathurst. Yeah, and we've got a Fanatec wheel at the moment as well.
Nice.
But yeah, I would love to upgrade it a bit, give it some TLC love, but need to bring it home to my house first.
Now, you mentioned you say Polvo. We'll have to mention that you are studying to be in law. So
yes.
So it goes both ways. If you can get the money from being in law and be successful in law, you can then fund your motorsport, can't you?
I was going to say, you've got to have something to pay the bills. Nothing, You're not going to pay the bills in motorsport easy. So I thought, and I also like to have a backup option. Obviously, not everyone makes it in motorsport. My first goal is to make it in motorsport, but I like to have something to fall back on so that, if something does go wrong, if something happens and I can't race, what's my backup option? I don't want to be left there like a headless chicken running around not knowing what to do. So yeah, it definitely does keep me busy though. But I think it's helped me a lot as well. Another reason I wanted to do it was so that I understood the sponsorship side and the contract side. So like learning contract law can help me better apply that into my racing career. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, yes, I'm doing it so I can be a lawyer, but I'm also doing it to help with the non-racing side of the racing.
Absolutely. And you do have the support of Carbiz as well, and that they've been on board. You don't not only work for them, but they also sponsor your motorsport, and you've got to be very, very happy that Carbiz have really gotten behind this whole project. It's a big undertaking for a business like Carbiz to support not just yourself, but your dad as well, to do one of the biggest enduros of Bathurst.
And I'm very lucky the law firm that I work for. So my part-time job at the moment is paralegal. They actually sponsor my race car as well. So they're Little's lawyers in Brisbane. So they've given us some money. They love cars. One of the managing partners is really big into Porsches. So They've really gotten behind us as well. Hopefully we can get a Porsche soon, but for now we'll stick with the GR, I guess.
That's I see you're just dropping the hint there to your boss. Hey, I wouldn't mind a Porsche, maybe race Sprint Challenge or something, or Prod
Yes,
Sports.
Exactly. He sponsors. Do you know Tyler Greenbury?
I do know Tyler Greenbury. Yes.
Yeah, so he sponsors their Porsche they're running in the Michelin Sprint.
Nice. So that's your next goal, other than the 86, go into Porsches or something?
I've got a few avenues that could maybe go down. It just depends. I've got a few things in the works at the moment as well. So I'll just see which one takes off and then go with the wind as it takes me.
As it does, yeah. Where would you really like to end up in terms of your career?
I've thought about this a lot and I don't know. Obviously, I would love to end up in supercars. Like, I feel like that's, the end goal for a lot of people. But as motorsport has kind of like progressed, the GT3, GT4 series is obviously taking off a lot as well. I would love to race overseas, like anything. And then I've also thought, I'd love to drive an open wheeler. It's always a goal. I feel like I'm a bit past like the prime age for an open wheeler driver now, but I'd still love to drive one. I don't know. I would honestly, the only answer I have to that is I would drive anything that's thrown at me. Like, my dream is to just drive something and drive it full time. Like, that would just be awesome.
Well, I guess when you look at the opportunities with GT3 and GT4, particularly with GT4 growing at the rate it is right now.
It's getting massive, isn't it? I think that's obviously one of the next steps I would like to take, hopefully. We'll see what happens.
And what about F1 Academy? Obviously, it's the second season of this series created by Formula One to get women involved in motorsport. And we've got two Australians competing in
yes.
in either.
I actually used to race go-karts, not with her, like she would with Ava when she was in Cadet 12, I think, when I was in KA4, because she was a bit younger than me.
Yeah.
Obviously F1 Academy would be like awesome. Like, if I had the opportunity, I'd jump at it. Like, no second thought. The only issue is that like I'm 21 this year, and I know the cutoff is 22 or 23 or something.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of time. I don't have the experience in a open wheeler that I think that they look for. However, I think I could do it. You know, if they said to me, "Hey, next year, F1 Academy," I reckon I could. I reckon I could rock it.
Well,
I reckon I could figure it out.
I'm sure you could. They've got Joan Ciccone as well, who's involved in for the MP Motorsport. So you've got Ava in there, who's driving for the Hi-Tec team under the Tag Heuer brand. And you've got Joan Ciccone, who's, and both of them did very well in the opening round. So, like, anything is possible to do in F1 Academy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely if I had the opportunity, I'd jump at it, but I'm not holding my breath type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But you've got the opportunity, as I said, for GT3 and GT4. And when you look at Renee Gracie, yes, she's racing in GT3, but, she's, I guess, a prime example that there's opportunities for her to go overseas if she wants to race around the world because of that, that door opening being in GT3 and also in GT4. With that class, you can go anywhere in the world and race those.
Yeah,
cars.
exactly. It's such a universal class compared to, other classes, which are really only like Australian-based type of thing. So translates more worldwide, which is obviously where you want to start if you do want to be racing overseas. So I would like to get into GT4 in the coming years, but see where the wind takes me, I guess.
Your relationship with Brendan, how did that come about? Because that's it. Because you speak positively about Brendan and his work in preparing.
Oh my God, I don't know what I'd do without him, honestly. Like, he is like a lifesaver to me. He works so hard. I don't even know why he does it, honestly. Like, I don't know what, he always makes fun of me, so he must like me a little bit. He must like me enough to do it. I don't really know how, but Dad and Brendan, I think Brendan was managing another team back in the day when Dad was racing, because I know Brendan has worked in a lot of different roles. Like, he's owned a supercar at one point in time.
Wow.
Like, he's lived so many different lives. He went overseas. Like, he is a very, very intelligent man. He has some knowledge, and I just, like, he talks and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're saying, brother. Like, he is a very, very talented man. And he messaged, because Dad used to make race suits for go-karts when we first started go-karting as like a kind of like a way to pay for it. And Brendan messaged Dad and was like, "Hey, I know a young kid is trying to get into go-karts. Like, I know we haven't talked in 20 years, but can you make him a race suit?" And Dad was like, "Yeah. Hey, actually, now that we're talking, I've got a few questions about the car." And then Brendan came up and we started working together, and now he like basically like works on that car like it's his own baby. Like, he does a lot of work for the team. So yeah, I honestly don't really know how it happened, but it did, and I'm very grateful that it did, because we would not be anywhere near where we are today. We would not have been able to build this new car without him. That's 100% for sure.
And as you're not going to have much time to test the car, but
no,
you seem pretty confident that it's going to last the 6 hours potentially.
Yeah, I think it will. We've done a lot of work as well in like driving to preserve the car. One thing that he's talked to me about, and he's been very like, okay, because one of the things with racing is you're always taught how to do a quick lap and how to do multiple quick laps. But if you only recently did I like last year was my first endurance race. I think it was at Sydney Motorsport Park or something. And then I did one at Morgan Park, and it's like a shock to the system having to learn to preserve the car and not do your fastest lap. So that was like a big change for me. And he has been very on me, like, okay, I know you can drive fast. Like, we know that, but can you drive fast enough over a period of time while still preserving the car? It's like a whole different driving style. So
that's interesting. But he also takes the piss out of you as well. He loves.
Oh my God, all the time. He messages me, and yeah, he made a comment. He's like, "The car's going to be good. Like, we've got everything. We're going to do great." And I was like, "Yeah, the best thing is the driver." He's like, "Okay, whatever helps you sleep at night." I'm like, "Thanks, Brendan. Glad that you've got faith in me." He's got faith in the car he built, but not in me. So
oh, that hurts a little bit. Although he does it just to rile you up, I take it.
Yeah, he does. He certainly does. He likes to. I think that's a good thing as well. It's not just professional. We also have a laugh, so it keeps it. The attitude is good.
Does it keep you level-headed as well?
Yeah, it keeps me like grounded, I think is the word that I like to use. It's like, yes, we're all still real people at the end of the day, and we all still like to have a laugh and have fun. Like, it's not it takes the pressure off a little bit, that's for sure.
I think that's what I like about the Bathurst 6 Hours, that yes, there's going to be some supercar drivers in there, but it's a race that's mostly accessible to nearly everyone, and you don't have to take it too seriously to enjoy motor racing. That's what I think. That's what makes the Bathurst 6 Hours so popular, I think.
I'm excited because it's my first Bathurst. It's actually my first race at Bathurst ever. I only went for the first time last year to do the challenge, the 3-day challenge, like the time track challenge.
The challenge Bathurst, yeah.
That was my first time ever going to the track.
Was your eyes bulging when you did your first lap?
I was honestly shitting myself. Like, I had done a lot of sim work prior to, like, because, you know, they always say, Bathurst isn't like any other track, you know, it's fantastic. And I was like, yeah, whatever, like, you know. And then I started doing sim work, and then I kind of realized how unforgiving the track is. And I reckon for the week before we went, I was having nightmares about crashing. I was terrified. And my first lap, I was like, oh my God. And then after the first few laps, I was like, okay, I can get used to this. And then once you started going fast and you started getting good laps in, it's like nothing like I've ever driven before. It was awesome. It's such a good track to drive. Like, can't put it into words, especially over the top. It's just over the mountain. Incredible.
Are you gonna have that same feeling when you drive out for your first lap in qualifying or in practice next week when you take the new car out? Are you going to be? I
think it's going to be that like amplified because it's going to be a faster car, so it's going to be like, oh my God. Yeah. Well, probably going to have the nightmares as well, so we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know.
This is the Motor Dream Podcast.
All right, Annabelle, so far I've really enjoyed the chat with you, and I can see how much you're excited to do the 6 hour, and can't wait to see what actually happens if you get to potentially win your class or potentially be top 3 and give the new 86 a dream start to its career. But I want to know a little bit more about what makes you tick about cars, because I'm pretty sure there's some cool stories you can tell me about your experience around cars. So I want to know the first car that you drove. Do you remember
I drove?
Yeah, like when you do you remember when you were a young kid when you sat on your dad's lap or your mum's lap and drove the car up and down the driveway? Do you have any memories like that?
Mine's worse than the driveway. My dad used to take me to one of the local parks near our house in the car park, and it started off with me sitting on his lap, and he'd let me drive around. Like, I'd do the steering and he'd do the pedals. And then probably when I was like 8, he let me drive the car by myself around there. I always loved, looking back now, I always loved driving. Like, I would always be like, can we go driving? Can we go driving? Like, I want to do it. I would always try and drive, our family had property out, and I'd always want to drive the quad bike and stuff like that. Like, I just always loved, golf buggy, stuff like that. So I think the first car I drove was my mum's Nissan X-Trail, which isn't anything, super exciting. It was our little family car. But I drove it around the car park. And then when I was getting closer to my L's, when I was about 14 or 15, Dad, this is so bad. This is so bad. Hope no one who listens to this is in the police or anything. He used to put the L plates on when I was 14 and 15 and let me drive around because I just loved it. I would beg him to do it so much. That was in his Hyundai Santa Fe or something. So
I'm guilty, although mind you, my statute of limitations was probably passed a long time ago. So please don't, whoever listens to it, don't do it if you've got kids that are begging you to drive. Be responsible. But I understand. I understand where you. Yeah, I know you flout the law, and I don't recommend it. But yes, I've been there.
When my mum found out, she was mortified, but she didn't find out till 5 years later. So it was fine.
Were there any swear words exchanged? You bastard, what did you do that for?
They were separated at this point, so I think it was lucky that they were, because if not, there would have been there would have been some fighting words there. I'm
pretty sure. So. Are they back together now, your parents? Or
no, they're not. They separated maybe it would be 5 years ago now. Okay. So for the better. So
yeah, totally understand. Okay, do you remember the first car that you owned?
Well, I still have my first car. So I'm 20, and I bought my first car when I was 16. I was that fuckwit who I had all my hours done like 6 months before. I had my test booked in like 3 months before. Like I would refresh the TMR website every day to book my test in. Like I wanted my license so bad. I wanted it so bad because I just, love the driving and the freedom of it.
Just before we go on, because obviously here in New South Wales, where I'm from, we have obviously Service New South Wales and I think it's the RMS or whatever it's called these days. It used to be called the RTA. What's it in Queensland?
The Queensland Department of Transport.
Oh, yes. Is that it?
Yeah. So
is that TMS or something?
TMR. So we call it TMR because it's Transport and Main Road.
Oh, right.
So I don't even know. Everyone just calls it TMR here. But TMR is like where you the TMR website is like where you book your first test, and like you have to I don't know if it's the same in New South Wales, but you have to take an ELS test first.
Yes.
Once you pass that, then you have to do 100 hours. And then you have to do like another test that's like a reaction test or something online. And then once you've done all of that, you can do your PEAS test, but you have to be 17 to do your PEAS test. So I had my PEAS test booked on my birthday. As soon as I turned 17, I was like, I'm getting my license. And my first car is a 2000, which I still have now, is a 2500 Accord Euro. So it's a K24 engine. I love her to bits. Her name's Holly the Honda. She's got leather interior because she's the Euro. She's the luxury edition. This is a car from 2005. It has heat, like warmers on the seat. Didn't even know they made that back then. It has like, it's a button to like move the seat back and forth. Like it's all electric. There's an electric sunroof. Like it's incredible for 2005. I don't know what Honda was on, but they were doing something. So that's my first car, and I still have it.
Oh my God. You do know your stuff. Like heated seats and having the electric seats to move and tilt and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, you've got it good. And
I know.
And it's a K series motor, like a K24.
I know. K24A. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. You do know your shit. It's
a good engine. Yeah. I didn't realize that when I bought it because I wanted a Prelude at first.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, what about this? And I was like, okay, it's a four-door Prelude, like whatever, I'll grab it. Because I was always really into JDM cars when I was younger. But yeah, I still have it. She's going strong. You've
just brought up something that I was going to ask. Do you name your cars? You just told me.
Yes. Yes. I'm very big on naming cars. My car, her name's Holly the Honda. When I met my boyfriend, we've been together for almost a year now, one of the first things he talked about was cars because he's really big into cars. So it's like a perfect match. And everyone always says, as soon as he told everyone that I was a race car driver, they were like, oh my God, she's perfect for you because he's really big into cars. I was like, what's your car's name? He was like, it's Baxter the BT50. And I was like, I'm going to be good. Yeah. Really big into cars, like naming the cars.
Perfect. You've just answered. What's your thoughts on other people that do? Like, obviously, well, if your boyfriend's name is Mazda BT50 Baxter, I mean, it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then he sold that car. He's got a new car. The car's name is Herb the Hilux, which I think is really cute. And then all my friends have their cars named as well. So it's just like to me, if someone doesn't have their car named, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, why don't you have it named?
I'm sorry, I don't have a name for my car. What is wrong?
Okay, well, you need to fix that.
Hey, if Paul Morris can name his race cars, his ex-supercars race cars, so yeah, why not?
I had my race car named as well. Her name was Esty the 86.
Esty, okay.
Yeah, like ESTE, Esty. Because I was like, I don't know, it just like rung to me. So I'm going to have to name the new car, but I haven't thought about that. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, geez. Maybe George the GR? No, actually.
No, she's a girl. She's a girl.
Gracie?
Yeah, she's a girl.
Gracie the GR, maybe?
I'll think of something. I'll get back to you.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Do you remember the first road trip that you remember growing up?
We used to drive to Noosa a lot when I was younger, like when I was like in primary school. And I remember the drive felt so long then. But one of the longest road trips we ever did for go-karting, we went down to Monado in South Australia for the AKC Championship. That was a 26-hour drive.
Ooh.
And I think I was like 12 maybe maximum. Yeah.
And
so
this was long before Spotify as well. Or maybe, no, around the time of Spotify maybe.
I don't even know what we did for the 24 hours. Like, I don't even know. Like, I probably slept most of the way, to be honest. I'm a big sleeper. So,
Okay. Okay. What about the first time you remember changing a tire? Do you remember that?
um, so we'd have to do it for work every now and again. Because when I worked at Carbiz, we'd obviously have the hire cars, and every now and again we'd get one with a flat tire. We'd have to put the spare tire on. But it's funny you asked that because I had a flat tire like 3 weeks ago. My car, I haven't changed the tires since I've had it. So I've had it for like what, 4 years now, never had to change the tires. I was driving along and I hear this bang and the whole tire just blew out.
Oh,
Like
no.
I got a photo of it. It was like pretty bad. And I can change a tire, but why would I do it when I have my boyfriend to change it for me? Like these nails aren't getting in there to like change a tire. Like it's not happening.
You're going to have to get your hands dirty sooner or later.
No, I know. But he helped me change it.
Okay.
Because it was also like on the side of a main road and I was scared and he was worried. He was like, you can't, I don't want you to get hit. But yeah, it was pretty rough.
Ouch, that got ruined badly. Like,
Yeah, it's like fully.
oh, did you have to replace the rim as well?
No, the rim was fine. I was very worried about that because I've got Koya rims I've got aftermarket rims on my car.
I've got Koyas on my Focus, which is going to be my race car as well, which I'm building up at the
We
moment.
just bought Koyas for the GR as well.
How
so
good are they? They are absolutely.
they are. They're gorgeous
They
as well.
are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I'm building because I've got an XR5, so an '07 XR5, and I'm building it to Group 3 E spec. So don't think it'll ever race at the 6 hour, but if I can race it in the New South Wales series, hey, I'll be happy. So
You can race it. You can race it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly. Probably race against you, and you probably whip my ass. So
I'll hold you to that. Yeah, I probably will.
yeah,
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
know.
But yeah, it was I was a bit worried that it would have damaged the rim because it fully slid off the rim as well. Because after it, like I was on the way home to my boyfriend's house and I had turned a corner and it must have like slipped off the rim a bit. So when I parked it, you could kind of see it was like off, like the rim was there and I was a bit worried, but it was fine. Thank God. It was fine. But yeah, had to change a few tires for work. I didn't really do it myself. He did most of it, but yeah.
What about the kind of music you listen to when you go on a road trip?
Okay, people are gonna hate me for this. I'm a really big Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift.
Why am I not surprised?
I always have been when I was younger. I think I would have my 13th or 14th birthday, I went to the Reputation tour. And I went to the Eras tour.
I was about to ask you,
last year.
did you do the Eras tour?
Yes, I did, and it was an expensive trip because I had to fly down to Melbourne.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
not
was, like,
surprised.
3 or 4 rows from the front row, so I didn't cheap out on the tickets either. But I've really gotten into I love old music like Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh, yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's how my boyfriend and I actually first started talking, was over Green Day. And for his birthday, I bought him tickets to Green Day, and we were so excited, but it got cancelled because of the cyclone. So that's like really, really sad. But yeah, I love old music growing up. My mum and I'd always listen to 80s music as well. So
You're
I like my old.
You're talking to someone that's a big Queen fan, so
Yeah.
So
I love Green Day. So
yeah, well, Queen for me, and I love Foo Fighters. I've seen the
Yeah.
Foo Fighters a number of times, and they are so good. So
yes.
so totally get it. I totally understand. Like not into rap or into like techno or whatever or dance.
I like drum and bass, kind of, but it's not like my go-to. Like my go-to would either be like Taylor Swift or the Green Day radio on Spotify, because I feel like it's got a lot of good, like between Green Day, Chili Peppers, that type of stuff. Like that's my jam. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just so good.
Chili peppers are good. Chili peppers are good.
Yeah,
Good
Chili
choice.
Peppers are good.
Yep.
Thank you.
What about eating in cars? Yes or no?
I mean, yeah, I do it all the time. I'm a serial eater and driver. Like I'm a multitasker. I'm not here to waste time. I'm not here to fuck spiders. Like if I'm driving, I'm gonna be eating at the same time. Like we don't need to stop and wait for me to eat. I'll just like use my knees to steer and just eat. So I learned that from my dad. My dad did that all the time growing up as well.
Hang on,
And I definitely got that from him.
did you just say I'm not here to fuck ciders? Is that right?
Fuck spiders, yeah. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on here?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I have such a bad foul mouth.
No, that's okay. That's fine. I like that.
Growing up around the racetrack, I think my like second word was fuck. So let's be real.
Okay, fair enough. Did you get your license first go? Yes or no?
Yes, I did. I have to say. And I have a manual car as well. So I passed my manual test first try. I got one minor, like one little thing because I let the clutch go too early. But I think she was just like jealous that I was such a good driver and she just wanted to like pin me on something. So
Oh, okay. And you got
I'm very
away
proud of
with
myself for that.
And you got away with it to tell the tale. I'm very impressed.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
All right. I would take it that the Honda is the best car you've owned, which is also your first car. Would that be right? Or would it be the 86?
Yeah, it's the only car I've owned. Yeah. But yeah, she's good. She's reliable.
Okay. What about the best road trip that you've been on?
Probably end of last year when we drove to Bathurst. That was a pretty good road trip because I think it was the anticipation of like knowing where I was going and what I was doing. And then on the way home, it was really good as well because I felt like I'd achieved a lot. Like I was really happy with the progress that I made and the times that I was doing down there. It was a lot better than I expected that I would do for my first time. So that was pretty good. The road trip itself was pretty boring. Like there's not a lot to see, but on the way down there were some really nice views. Like there's this like bridge just before Sydney that you drive down. I don't know what it is, but there were some nice views, but overall it was pretty boring. Road trips I get so bored in, like, to be honest. But I made my dad drive a lot and I just sleep. So.
Well, you said you're a big sleeper, so that makes sense.
Yes, I am a very big sleeper. I could sleep anywhere, anytime, through anything. So
I'm impressed that you could do that. But just don't do it when you're driving, please.
No. When I'm driving, I'm like locked in. So
good. What about pet peeves, like stickers on cars or aftermarket spoilers, fluffy dice and that? Are you one of those people or you don't like those kind of things?
Stickers on backs of cars, depending on what they are. If they're funny, yeah, like I get it. But some of them are so cringe and I look at them and I'm like, why did you think that was like a good idea to put that on your car? Like, what is it? Like, why? But I don't really care too much about fluffy dice. Like, do what you want. But yeah, the stickers really, really peeve me off. Or ricer cars, that's what. Like the people who you can tell are just like trying to be cool and they're not being cool. So but each to their own, I guess. Everyone has their own car, they can do what they want, but I'm gonna judge you. So.
Okay. Who taught you Don't worry, I don't do anything like that. Who taught you how to drive?
My dad. I think my mum would have been way too stressed to teach me how to drive.
Which would explain why he allowed you to drive when you did before you got
Yes, he definitely taught me to drive because he was teaching me to drive from like 8 years old. So, and he taught me how to drive manual as well, which was a very stressful experience. Not fun. Learning to drive manual with him. But then after I'd already learned to drive, my mum like did a few of my hours with me and she was definitely got a little bit nervous when I was driving. So,
all right, here's a question before we move on.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you wish people would appreciate more in cars? Given that you drive manuals and you've driven some, I guess, more contemporary cars in the recent past. Like, we obviously have a lot more electric vehicles, EVs and the likes, and the art of like manual driving has become a bit of a lost art. So what do you think people should appreciate more with cars these days?
I definitely think like with the way that the world is going, we just need to appreciate petrol cars in general. Like they're not going to be around for much longer. Like they're not going to be creating them for much longer. But I definitely think like people need to appreciate how in control you are when you're driving a manual, how much like fun it is. And the art of it, like it's not just like, changing gears, like learning how to heel toe is like an art that not a lot of, you don't really do it that much when you're driving. I do it all the time when I'm driving on the road, which is probably not good for my car. But like I'm always heel and toeing. So I don't think people appreciate the art of driving manual. And like there's so many different ways that you can control the car with the gears. So
that's a good answer. That's actually a very, very good answer. And you're right. Like we're losing the art of manual driving now. And it's a shame because there's not that many cars that are available on the road that you can actually buy as a manual.
No, and if they are, they're usually work utes and they're only 5-speed and they're not made to like drive for fun, you know? A lot of the manual cars that are being produced are like mainly for four-wheel driving and they're not being made as much unless it's like an 86, in which they still do make them. But you know, when you see a lot of newer cars coming out, they just don't even come in a manual option anymore. And driving like for Carbiz, when I worked there, I drove auto cars all the time. And I appreciate driving an auto in stop-start traffic, because driving a manual in stop-start traffic makes me want to like just drive off of a bridge. Like oh my God, it's just the most frustrating thing ever.
I know the feeling.
Especially because people don't know how to drive, but that's a whole other story. But it's just like so boring driving an auto car. And like you can try and have fun and like put it into sequential, but even then you're not in control of the gears when it's changing gears, the rate at what it's changing gears. You have so much more control in a manual. It's just so much more fun.
I agree. And look, I currently drive a Kia Niro. And look, they're nice. They're a very nice car as a hybrid. But when you try and go from an automatic into the sequential mode, you're right, you don't have control of it. So despite your best intentions to actually use it properly, it just doesn't work. Like it just irks me. And I mean, look, I guess we're now trained to be automatic drivers now, which is just, you know, I find boring, to be perfectly honest. But I miss the manual experience. Yes, you've got sequential, you've got the paddle shifts and everything, but it's just
not the same.
No, it's not. It's not the same.
Not the same.
So
like at all. I just think that it's definitely nowhere near the same. But a lot of people these days don't even learn how to drive manuals. Like a lot of people my age and younger will just go for their auto license and they'll go, oh, you know, I'll get my manual license one day, and they never do. And people just don't have the interest in doing it anymore, which I don't understand. Like to me, I knew I wanted a manual car. Like I knew I wanted to drive manual. So
have you had people come up to you and ask you if you're going out? Like,
can you drive manual? Yeah. I get that all the time. And I told them I'm a race car driver, and they're like, is it auto or manual? What the fuck do you think it is? Like, let's be real here. And then I tell them I drive a manual car. They're like, oh, you can actually drive manual. Yes, I can drive manual. Oh my God. Yeah, sorry. So I'm going to rant there. The amount of times, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me if I could drive manual, I'd have a couple $100.
It would go to your racing career, that's for sure.
Exactly. We'll start that, please.
I love that. And it segues nicely into what I'm about to tell you. So, Annabelle Rolfo, you wake up one morning and you get a text message as you're getting ready to go to the gym to train, to get ready for Bathurst. And it says, check your bank balance. And you think, oh, come on, this is bullshit. This is some kind of scam. But then you get a little bit of curiosity in you and you decide to open up your bank app, and you just suddenly discover you've become an instant billionaire. You don't know how you got the money, where you got the money from. You just fall off your chair and you think, what the hell has just happened? But then you get an email from this mystery benefactor, and it tells you that you can buy any car, bike, or machine that you want, but you're only allowed 3 in your dream garage. So with that in mind, what is the first car, bike, or machine that you would like to have in your dream garage, Annabelle Rolfo?
Okay, I had to make a list and then like go back, cull the list, because I was like 3. At first I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, and then I was looking at it, I was like, 3, is that it? So
maybe if there's some honourable mentions, or there's maybe 1 or 2 extras that may be worthy to go in, we might include it. So I'm all ears, but I want to hear what you've got.
So my first, and this is kind of like boycotting the rules here, because I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna have a boat, but the boat's gonna be so big you can't put it in my garage. So
well, we've had a few boats.
That doesn't count. So I'm gonna have a boat, but it's just not in my garage, so it doesn't count.
Okay,
I think the first car I would buy is a race car.
Of course.
Like, that was a no-brainer for me.
Of course.
I'm really stuck between what cars I would pick. So I was either thinking a GT3 Audi R8 or a GT3 911. Like, they were my 2.
Ooh, the GT3 RS. Ooh, okay.
It's the GT3 RS or the LMS GT3 Evo 2, the R8.
You know what? No one's mentioned about the LMS GT3 R2. Is that correct?
The R8, sorry.
The R8. Oh, okay. Hang on. So we know about the Audi R8, but what was the Porsche?
The 911 GT3.
Right. The LM. Oh, the R8 LMS. Yes. No one's mentioned the Audi R8 LMS in the Dream Garages yet, because we've had the Porsche mentioned a few times, but not the Audi. And you know what?
Well,
and I love the Audi as well. I do love that V10. It's just beautiful.
yes, and I was thinking, like, okay, if I'm gonna have a car, what do I want to drive in? Okay, GT3. And then I'm thinking about what cars I want, and obviously it's either gonna be an Audi or a Porsche, because I think just like the craftsmanship of both those cars, like Porsche, they know how to make a race car.
Of course.
Like, that's one thing. They have so much experience. But then I also just love the Audi, like the Audi. Sorry, like I think it would just be so fun to drive. So I really struggled to pick between those two. So that's like my race car options.
All right. How about this? I'm going to allow the Porsche and I'm going to allow the Audi. I'm going to allow.
Okay.
It. I'm going to allow.
Okay.
I'm going to allow.
They're both just so good,
I do love the Porsche. I mean, I am I'm not a big Porsche fan, but I love the 911 GT3 RS in GT3 spec, because it's just, I've seen it win at Bathurst a number of times with Matt Campbell driving the pants off it, and we know how good he is around Bathurst in a GT3 car. It's just, that car is just an absolute beast.
Exactly. Just letting you know, my AirPods might die, so if they do, I'll just take them out and speak through the speaker, but they should be fine for the rest of the thing.
Okay, no worries.
But yeah, so those are my two race car options. And then I am a sucker for an old boxy car. Like,
Ooh.
I don't know what it is. My boyfriend and I were talking about M3s the other day, and he was like, I like what's he talking about? It's like the E92, or like one of the new M3s.
Yes. E92. I love the M3s, but I love the very, very first M3s, E30.
Oh, he likes the E90s. So he said, he was like, I want an E90. And I was like, you know what I want? I want the E30. Because I love the old boxy cars.
Thank you.
As soon as you said that, I was like,
Thank you. Someone that's on my wavelength when it comes to the M3.
I had a photo of one of the ones. I just love, I know they're not as fast, but they're just gorgeous. Like, are you kidding me? Like the shape of it. I don't know. It's just stunning.
I absolutely love it. So for those that don't know what we're talking about, the E30 M3 was the first M3 that was released 1986, and the first generation, like the E30 model, went until 1991. So a good 5-year cycle, built specifically to race in the World Touring Car Championship, which it successfully won. A two-door sedan with a 2.3-litre S14 inline 4, which then went up to 2.5 litres in later spec. 5-speed manual, had massive brakes on the front and rear for a car that weighed only about 900 kilos or something. And it was a world beater. It actually won the World Championship. It won the Australian Touring Car Championship. I think it won a lot of other domestic championships. And it's just one of those cars that I remember when I was growing up, I was like, I actually want one of those. I mean, I love a Ford Sierra, but the M3 was just one of those cars I just went, yes, please. That's for me. Yeah. And the sad thing is,
I agree.
The sad thing is it was never sold in Australia, and it was only built in left-hand drive. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to own one now. I mean, they're not cheap, even,
No, God, no. Oh, my God. We were looking at it because he's obsessed with M3s and the M3 E90s, the 92s, and I was like, I just love the look of it as well. Like, I've always been a sucker for an old boxy car, like the old Merc, stuff like that.
Yes.
And I just think the way that this one is built, it's just gorgeous.
Oh,
it's so attractive. Like, I just love it.
I still love it, even though it's been almost 40 years, that car. It is still utterly beautiful, and I would still want to own one to this day. I totally on my wavelength. I love it. What is?
Because I was like, I've got my race car, I've got my fast car, I want my pretty car.
Can I just mention quickly? We'll go back to the Audi. So, like, yes, it's a V10, like 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10, and it's there's not much else I can say about it other than it's just a very, very quick car. It's won Nürburgring, the 24 hours of Nürburgring. It's won the Bathurst 12-hour a couple of times. Yeah, it's won 3 times actually. So it's a car that has a lot of cred. So I can see why you've chosen both the Audi and the Porsche. So good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. So I've also always wanted to drive, like, race a Porsche. Like, they just built so well. And obviously Porsche has such a knowledge of race cars that a lot of other companies don't have.
Yes.
So I've heard, obviously I've never driven one before, but I've heard that they're just built so well for track conditions and that they're great to drive. So I'd love to drive one of them.
And of course, rear engine, rear wheel drive, everything's just wrong about the car. Like, it's got death-defying oversteer, as Jeremy Clarkson calls it, but it's just so. He says that car is made to kill you. That's what
Oh wow, your accent is fantastic. I used to watch Top Gear growing up with my dad. I love Top Gear.
Well, actually, you know what he said about BMW M3 owners? He says they're a bunch of cocks.
Well, then he can take that back to his farm, can't he?
Yes, he can. Well, we're a bunch of cocks, and if we love our M3s, we are cocks. So I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah. What is the last car, bike, or machine you would have?
So this one is kind of just like I've got a fast car, I've got a pretty car. I want a 4-wheel drive that I can, thrash around. I want to be able to take it on the beach, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not really like a 4B girl. Like, I'm just not. So I'd probably pick like a Jeep Wrangler or something that I can that's kind of like a girly car, that's like a fun girly car. Like, I can have the roof off and be like, living my American dream, like party in the USA. So I think it could probably be, and then I can still obviously use it for practical purposes, like towing and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I got to tow the race car, so.
And it is the perfect kind of car to have.
Yeah.
So you'd have like a current model or an earlier model?
I mean, I like the earlier models better, like the 2000. I think it's the 2010 ones that I like a bit better. They're just like, I don't know. I'm not a big new car gal. Like, I like Apple CarPlay, but other than that, I just think that the direction that new cars have been going in, like, visually, is just not for me. Like, I'm not a fan of it. Except, have you seen the new Hyundai that they're releasing? That's like based on like the old based on like an old boxy style car, but it's got all the new features.
It's the Excel, based on the old Excel, yes.
Yes. So I've seen that coming out, and that's like excited me a little bit.
Okay. The current interpretations of those old cars, I mean, they are pretty cool. They are very, very cool. And they do, I guess, they bring out some of that old school feel that it brings a lot of emotions out. I love that.
Yes.
They do that.
I love old school style cars.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about is the Mini, like their current Minis, because they've gone down a different road with those the BMW spec Minis. Like, they've got the Clubman now, and the 4x4 versions. I don't like them. I don't like what they've done to the Mini since BMW took over. I mean, I liked the Cooper S they did, but because they've now gone and done a four-door version, a SUV version, I'm like, you've ruined it. Leave it.
It's not a Mini anymore. It can't be a Mini if it's an SUV. Like, that's not how it works.
Exactly. So just quickly, they actually built the Wranglers, the ones that you were looking at, in Egypt. Would you believe? So
really?
They've built them in Egypt, yes.
They built the pyramids and the Wranglers at the same time.
Yes, they have, and, if you've got the V6 mode, you can either have the 3-litre, which was built in China, or you can have the 3.6 or 3.8-litre hemispherical V6, which, like, actually, they got some pretty gutsy output.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got some power to them.
Yeah, 285 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, and if you had a 5-speed or a 6-speed, they don't have manuals for those cars, unfortunately. So,
which is fine, because if I'm 4-wheel driving, I think manual driving would stress me out. Well, I don't know. I'm just not a 4-wheel drive girl. I've been to the beach driving and stuff like that, and it's stressful enough as it is. Like, having to drive manual while doing that it'd be good for like better control of the car, obviously. But yeah, I'd probably have it as as a fun car, I guess.
Yeah.
And something to tow my race car with, something a little bit practical. can, have everyone in the back for like a road trip type of situation. Me and all my girlfriends. So,
Put the
and
Taylor,
because like
put the Taylor Swift
Taylor
on.
Swift on,
Yep.
I would never like get a Wrangler because I know that like getting parts and getting them repaired is like a nightmare in itself. But I'm a billionaire, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna have like a personal like Jeep mechanic in my garage for every time it breaks down, which is probably gonna be every time I drive it. But that's none of my business. So.
Well, that's it's your money. You can do whatever you like with it. But I mean, the Jeep it is nice. The Jeep Wrangler is actually pretty cool. So, and I actually had a mate of mine who lives in Brisbane these days. He actually owned a Grand Cherokee at one point. They actually were very nice. I drove it once, and it was a bit high for him, but I actually was rather comfortable.
I know, they're massive, hey?
They are absolutely massive, but they've got room. You've got room to move in them. So
Exactly. So, because I don't think I'm going to get much room in that M3, so.
Absolutely not. It's more of a fun car.
Exactly.
I love it. Look, 4 cars, I'll allow it. But, the Porsche 911 GT3 RS and GT3 spec, the Audi R8 LMS GT3, the Jeep Wrangler, the 2010 model, and also the E30 BMW M3. That, to me,
Yes.
like, it goes from the, your dream race car to your practical car to your dream day, your dream weekend car. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. And
That's exactly how I approached it. I need a car for every occasion.
And you do know your cars very well, so I'm very impressed. I think you even surprised your boyfriend that you wanted the older style M3 over the E90. So
Yes.
that's really cool. Congratulations on what you're about to achieve. I wish you all the very best at Bathurst next weekend. And when we do release this episode, hopefully we can tell the listeners if you've finished the race and created history, because that would be really, really cool. So all the best to you and to your dad for the Bathurst 6 Hour. And
Thank you.
good luck with whatever you do in the future, be it in GT3 or GT4 racing, or even in production car racing, or even potentially the GR Cup, because that car would be eligible for the GR Cup. Is that something you might want to consider doing, moving down the track?
We'd have to do a lot of changes because it has to, like, the car has to come from Gazoo.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, because it's a repairable write-off, like, it's not, like, eligible technically. We'd have to do a whole new build with a different base.
Right.
That's what I thought as well. I was like, oh, this could be awesome. But no, it's not going to work like that, unfortunately. Life isn't that easy. There's always something happening. But yeah, there's a few things in the works, so we'll see what happens for next year.
We can't wait. And all the best, as I said. Good luck at Bathurst, and good luck with whatever you do in the future. Thank you for coming on the show. It's
Thanks for having me. I've had such a good time.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
For someone that is deeply passionate about racing cars and driving at only 20 years of age, Annabelle is a bona fide car fanatic. And the fact that she is a strong advocate for driving manuals warms my heart, as I'm sure it puts a smile on others who are listening to this. Because let's face it, driving a manual car is a dying art, and it's something that we should all learn to do before it disappears forever as EVs take over the motoring landscape. And her dream garage included one of my favourite cars of all time, the E30 BMW M3. Annabelle, you have very good taste in BMWs, despite what Jeremy Clarkson says. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I recorded this interview 1 week out from the Bathurst 6 Hour, which was won on the very last lap by Dean Campbell and Cameron Crick, who came all the way from 66th position to win the ultimate Showroom Showdown. Congratulations to the pair. It was also BMW's 9th straight outright win in this race, a domination that has yet to be matched and may never be equalled in Bathurst racing history. As for Annabelle and her dad Carlos, I'm afraid it didn't go quite according to plan for the father-daughter combination. They did successfully qualify and start the race, where they started 61st. So, one objective successfully ticked off that list. But that's where everything fell apart for them. I caught up with Annabelle the day after and debriefed what was an eventful weekend for the Carbiz team.
This is the Motor Dream Podcast.
Well, Annabelle, it's the day after the Bathurst 6 Hour. Thank you for joining me once again. I know when we spoke a week ago, you were excited, nervous, anxious as well about how it was going to go. You got one part of the objective done. You've qualified for the 6 Hour, so you achieved one goal in that, but the race didn't go quite according to plan?
I think it was before the race that, pardon my French, shit started to hit the fan. So I'm glad, like, obviously we qualified, which is great.
Yeah.
And we made it to the start of the race, which I didn't think would happen at one point. So we started the race, which is awesome. So you got to take what you can get, I guess.
Absolutely. Where did it all start to go wrong for you? Because you obviously made the start line and you obviously got the car ready to go. You unveiled the livery when you got to Bathurst. So obviously had a few things, that you're burning the midnight oil like we talked about. But like, when did it all start to sort of fall apart?
So originally the week before Bathurst, there's a race on at QR that we were supposed to we weren't going to compete in it. We were just going to do the test day on the Friday.
Yep.
So I messaged Dad. I was like, "Hey, are we still all good for the test day?" I messaged him on the Thursday, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know. We've had a few issues." I was like, "Do I even want to know?" He's like, "You don't." And then I got a call from Brendan, and he was telling me that the car wouldn't start and they thought that it was the ECU. So the ECU got left in when we got the roll cage put in. So we thought that the ECU was fried. So we ordered a new ECU on the Thursday, came on the Friday. And at the same time, Brendan flew down to Sydney to take the old ECU to get checked out.
Yeah.
One of the other boys drove to Canberra to pick up the new ECU. He had to get mapped with the Motec and everything. Got the old ECU tested, found out it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. So we just bought a new ECU for no reason, basically. And they found out that something in the wiring was wrong. Yeah. So, but we were just grateful that it was okay, that it wasn't, there was, at the end of the day, the car turned on. We didn't get the test day, which was unfortunate. They took it to some random go-kart track in Coffs Harbour for a shakedown on the Monday, just to make sure that it drove, and all was good. Then I got down to Bathurst on the Thursday. So my boyfriend and I, we left at 3 a.m. Thursday morning, got there in the afternoon, did a track walk, all was good. Friday morning, went out for practice one. Dad was doing practice one. We were going to swap halfway through just to get some practice doing the driver swaps and all that. So he, got in the car, did a few laps, and then the setup was wrong. So one of the back wheels were rubbing on the guard. Had to bring it in. We had to call it because it was just too dangerous. So that was the first issue. Then we went out for the second practice. I went out and it was just a pig to drive. It was horrendous. And I was on the radio to Brendan. I was telling him, I was like, it needs to be stiffened up the back. It's just way too soft. It's rolling way too much. It felt like over the top of the mountain, I was driving on waves. It was like a boat to drive.
Oh, that's not a good feeling to have, especially.
Not what you want.
No.
So I felt like it was just going to push out into the wall at any given moment, which was pretty stressful. So, and then he was looking around the car. Anti-sway bar wasn't in. Must have got missed along the way. So we were like, okay, no stress. Well, we've got the anti-sway bar. We can put the anti-sway bar in. Went out for the third practice. We had to do a lap just to check we're having some issues with the oil or something. So did a lap, bought it in, safety car. Okay. Or red flag, sorry. All was good, waited in the pit lane, got let back out again. And then there was another safety car. 2 cars had gone into the wall up towards Griffin's Bend. And they canned the session. So we didn't get to test. So the whole point of that session was we'd made some changes, wanted to make sure it was good for qualifying, and obviously didn't get the chance to test it. Obviously, we're also stressed because we had barely done any laps. Dad had done about 10 laps. I'd done about 10 laps. So I jumped in the car for qualifying just to see, how it would go. Just wanted to get more lap times, more track time in, basically. Got in the car for qualifying, did my warm-up lap, and then I started to push, and the engine kept cutting out. Every time I went into third gear, it would cut out. So I didn't get a single lap in without the engine cutting out. It was just one thing after another. So I couldn't get a solid lap time in, which was really frustrating, especially seeing the times that we were getting on Natsoft and, on the Bathurst 6-hour programming, knowing that wasn't an accurate representation of what I could have pushed out.
Of course.
And then car went back up on the jacks, had to figure out what was wrong. Fuel lines. So we found two issues with the car. One, the fuel lines were about this thin. They had been crushed somehow. Don't know how. So then we were doing frantic runs to Repco and stuff, trying to get tubing to fix the fuel lines. And we had changed the throttle position. We changed the throttle pedal because in the new car, the brake and the throttle pedal were too far apart. I wasn't able to heel and toe properly because I've got very small feet. And so does Dad. So we had the same issue there. So one of the boys changed the throttle.
Yep.
And they didn't put the throttle stopper on. So every time I would go like full throttle, it would actually go over 100%. So I was pushing further than 100%. So it would go to 110, 120%, and the engine would just go into limp mode and just wasn't having a bar of it.
Oh, no.
So we figured out the issues. We were like, okay, at least we figured it out. So that was on the Saturday, I believe that was the qualifying. So Friday was with two practice sessions. Saturday was qualifying and the first practice session before. I think I got the days wrong before. And then Sunday, obviously the big race, I barely slept. I was so stressed. Hadn't gotten any laps in the car. Everything had gone wrong. I was like, God, this has got to be it. We get in the car for the warm-up. We got a 20-minute warm-up. We'd lowered the car. We changed the ride height of the car, and we were a bit nervous because obviously we had the issues on Friday with the guard hitting the wheel on the the side that takes all of the load, the loaded side. So we'd lowered the car. We didn't know whether it was going to hit or rub or not. We're about to go out, and then Dad starts to smell fuel. He was like, "Hey guys, can you just check the fuel?" And then we had an internal leak inside, like fuel was leaking inside the car. Not 100% sure what it was. They were talking about the breather. There was an issue with the breather. So they had to replace that, and they couldn't do it in time to get us out. So unfortunately, we missed the 20-minute warm-up prior to the race. So we were just going into this race blind. We had no idea what the car was going to be like. We had no idea if it was going to, hit the wheel, if the tires were going to rub on the guard. We didn't know what was going to happen. So we just kind of were like, and they had to fix the breather, which took like 2 hours. At one point, we didn't think we would get on the grid, to be honest. Probably definitely the most stressful race I've ever had in my racing career. It was insane. I was pacing back and forth. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Was it at that point were you thinking I probably should have taken up smoking? Not that we would recommend anyone doing it, but was that at that point?
It was at that point I was like, man, I need a shot right now. I need something. But should have taken up smoking. I should have had a drink in my hand. I was just losing the plot. I was just pacing in circles. We had no idea. And I kind of stayed out of the garage because, the boys are frantically running around trying to fix things. And I was like, if I'm in this garage right now, one, I'm going to get in the way. Two, I don't want to know what's happening because it's just stressing me out even more. I was already so nervous about this race. So came back, they'd fixed the fuel leak issue, which was great. And we made it onto the starting grid. As Dad jumped in the car doing radio checks, radio stopped working.
It's like a comedy of errors now, isn't it?
Oh my God. We would on the Saturday night, I had gone and gotten the boys dinner and coffee because, they had so much shit to do. One of the boys was saying, we've touched everything we can on this car. There is nothing on this car we haven't touched. I was like, I can only imagine. And he was getting in the car, plugged his radio in. He could talk to Brendan, so our team manager. He could talk to him. Brendan could hear him fine. Whenever Brendan tried to talk to him, nothing, radio silence. So it was like going back to the old days. We had to, hang out over the pit wall to tell him to pit, hang over the pit wall to basically communicate everything. We had no communication. It was driver to team manager and that was it. So he could communicate what was happening with the car, but barely. So because there were a few times he was talking over the radio, we couldn't understand what he was saying, couldn't ask him to repeat it. So we were just hoping for the best basically. So as soon as that happened, we were like, okay, what's wrong with it? It's his headphones. Is it his helmet kit? So I'm running back and forth. I'm like sprinting through the road behind the garages, like to this racing, I don't know, this place that sells all of this stuff. I'm like sprinting back and forth. We've got two sets of headphones, got a helmet kit because we'd plugged my helmet into the radio and I could hear it fine. So we thought it must be his, but we didn't have time. We didn't have time to fix it before we had to go out to the grid. So we were like, okay, we don't have any other choice. We can try and fix his helmet kit when he comes back in and hope for the best. So that was what we had to do. Went and lined up on the grid. He had a really good start. His first stint was about an hour and a half, past 10 cars. It was great. We kept seeing, he just kept, our lap times had improved so much from the few times that we had, gone on the track. So it was all starting good. We just had to wave over the pit when we wanted him to pit, which was a little bit stressful, but what can you do? And then I got in for my stint. So about an hour and a half in, pulled him in. They were like, okay, get ready. So I got in all good, plugged my helmet in, nothing, didn't have radio.
Oh, no.
So they could hear me, I couldn't hear them. So again, back to the old school ways, hanging over the pit wall to tell me to pit and everything. So I went out, I think probably the first 20 minutes I was out on track, there was 3 safety cars, one after another after another. First safety car restart, I had an awesome restart, past 3 cars under Griffin's Bend, I was feeling good. And then there was another safety car, another safety car. And I had a few issues getting into third gear, which was pretty frustrating. So at the start, I passed 5 cars in my class, and then coming out of Forest Elbow, it just wouldn't go into third gear. So then I lost a bit of time there. So it's I'd pass 5 cars and then I'd have an issue with the gearbox, and then 3 cars would go past, I got to pass them again. But it was good fun. I had an awesome time, driving that track. The car was definitely better. It wasn't great, but you just got to learn to drive to it. There's nothing we can do at that point.
It's called mechanical sympathy, isn't it? You got to look after the car as the day goes on.
Exactly. And that was the hardest part, is you got to look after the car, but I was battling the whole, I think I was in the car for just under an hour and a half. And I was battling the whole time. So I'm trying to be sympathetic to the car, but I've also got 4 cars behind me that have just passed that I'm trying to, make sure I've got enough speed to get away from them. And so at this point, we'd already done 1 compulsory pit stop, the one where I jumped in the car. And then there was another safety flag. And I'm over the radio. I'm like, okay, safety car, hang over the pit wall if you want me to pit this next lap. So went around, pitted that lap. And that was going to be our second compulsory pit stop. We're just under the 3-hour mark. So we had a few of the other cars in our class had to do compulsory pit stops under green. So in terms of strategy, we were looking good. Pulled in, they changed the front loaded tire, all was good. And then I went to start the car and it just nothing. Because the new car, you've got to hold it, because it's a push button, which is, not what it was like in my old car. So pushing the button, I've got my foot on the clutch. I'm trying to give it a bit of accelerator to get the revs going. Just nothing. Just died every time. Brendan's yelling. He's like, start the fucking car. And I'm because I think he thought that I stalled it at first, because that's what it sounded like. Because it would start up and then just no juice was getting to it. So it would just sputter out and stall. And it just nothing. So pushed it into the garage nose first, and I'm sitting in the car. I've got him trying to press the accelerator to get it started. The guys are looking to see if any of the wiring's unplugged, what's happened, and they've opened the hood. They're just trying to find anything. And we could tell there was something to do with the fuel, because it's the car wanted to start, but it was just getting no juice to the engine. There was just wasn't coming through. It was just spluttering out. So we probably tried for about 40 minutes. They were just, had the little testing thing, testing all of the wiring and stuff to see. And then Brendan was like, it's an issue with the fuel pump. We don't have a spare fuel pump. Even if we did, we wouldn't be able to change it. In pit lane, it'd just be too dangerous, take 40 minutes. So after probably, I reckon I was sitting in the car for almost 45 minutes to an hour is when we called it. And I just kind of sat in the car, just devastated. I didn't know what to do. I just sat in there and mourned for 20 minutes. it was pretty devastating, you know. You sitting in there, I was ready to go back out and feeling good because, you know, our times were coming up. Because there were two other GRs in our class, and one of them I'd already passed under like safe, like just prior to the safety car. So I was feeling good. I felt like we had the pace, we had the strategy, but it's all she wrote, I guess. We just couldn't get it started. We tried everything we could, and you know, I had 4 people in that car trying to just start it, but it just wasn't happening. So we had to call it, unfortunately, and that's where it ended.
It must feel so gutting after all the hard work, you know, and particularly doing all the late nights you had to do in the lead up to the event, not getting enough time to do the testing. You know, obviously you came in underprepared, even though you had a brand new car and you did everything you could. Nothing just seemed to go right for you. And it must have been a kick in the guts at that point in time when you had to pull the pin.
Yeah, I kind of just had to like sit in there and compose myself. I didn't know how to feel. Because one part of me is I'm so glad that we actually got the car on the grid because we didn't think we would for like probably the 2 hours prior to the race, you know. So I'm grateful that we got the car on the grid and I got a stint in, but it was devastating not to be able to finish when, you know, I think we would have been in the running for a podium had, you know, watching how the rest of the race played out as well. I feel like we definitely could have been in the running for a podium. So it's devastating, especially with the strategy, because, you know, if we had gotten back out after my pit stop, we would have only had to do one more compulsory pit stop. And, you know, we'd worked out our critical lap was like an hour and a half before the race. We could go that long, you know, with the tank. So strategy-wise, we would have been good, but couldn't get back out there. So it was devastating, coming to terms with it. And I think it didn't really hit me until, you know, after the race had finished, we were driving back and yeah, I just had to like sleep to not think about it. But that's what motorsport is, I guess, especially Bathurst. It's a cruel track. There's only so much you can do. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful of how much, you know, hard work the guys put in and how far we got. So just means we'll have to come back better and stronger for next year.
I have a feeling that, you've got unfinished business now. You do want to go back to Bathurst next year.
Yeah.
Is that part of the plan for you and your dad to actually go back and actually finish the race as father-daughter?
Look, I think it would be. We've got a few other things in the works that will take priority. But, you know, if we get the opportunity, we'll 100% be back. So
what are you going to do now? Are you going to be racing the 86 now, in between now and then, or what have you got planned in store?
We've got a few things that I got to keep under wraps until, you know, things are finalized. So you'll see on my social media, don't worry. But for the time being, I think we'll do a few of the like state rounds at QR and Morgan Park. We might travel down to New South Wales a little bit, just like run that car a bit while we've got it. And then hopefully next year we'll come back bigger and stronger with that car in the 6 hour. Definitely the goal. Maybe we'll have a different car in a different class, you know, so many things can happen between now and then, but it was definitely, I think, not finishing. And like the hardest part is like, it's out of my control. There's nothing I could have done to stop the fuel pump from pooping itself, unfortunately. So it just has made me want to come back even bigger and stronger. And it's just given me like more drive, I guess, to get back out there and get back racing. So
the one thing that can't be taken away from you, and this is a positive, is that you did qualify for the Bathurst 6 hour. You and your dad became the first father-daughter combination to qualify for a Bathurst Enduro.
And start the race. We started the race.
Exactly. So you've done that. You've achieved that prerogative. That's something that the Gulsons never got the opportunity to do. So you've actually created that little bit of Bathurst history. You must be very proud of that.
Yeah, I'm very proud of how hard the team worked to get us there and to get us on the grid and to start the race. And we made it halfway, so now we just got to get the other half through for next year. So
absolutely. Well, look, thank you so much for coming back on. Thanks
for having me.
It's been a great journey to follow how you guys have gone, and there's been so many hard luck stories up and down the pit lane, and I'm sure, there's going to be more to be told over the coming weeks for different people. But
look, I know we're not the only people that struggled. Bathurst is a pretty unforgiving track, and 6 hours around there is a pretty hard thing to do. And, you know, it's hard for the car to keep up. So everyone else had many, many issues. It was just unfortunate we couldn't get back out there. So
at least you didn't lose 3 wheels. You didn't lose a wheel on the track.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, we didn't finish the cars in one piece. That's what I'm glad about. We're not in a wall. Everyone's fine. It's just, we know what the issue is. I think I was most scared about, you see all the like some of the crashes in that race I'm glad that I wasn't a part of that. So cars in one piece, didn't hit a wall, all wheels are on still. There's always a positive to take out of it. So you just got to find the positives and yeah, everything happens for a reason. So it's just going to increase my drive to succeed, I guess.
Absolutely. And you're smiling, which is the most important thing. Thank you again for coming on. But bad luck for what happened over the weekend at Bathurst. But I know you'll come back bigger and stronger in 2026. Thanks for coming on.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Connor.
Well, Bathurst can certainly be a cruel mistress when it wants to be, but there's certainly unfinished business for both Annabelle and Carlos come next Easter, when the 2026 edition of the Bathurst 6 Hour rolls into town. We wish Annabelle the very best in her future endeavours on and off the track in motorsport and in law. You can follow Annabelle's Instagram with the handle AR_MSport. We've put that in the show notes as well as the Motor Dream Podcast website. The Motor Dream Podcast website is www.themotordream.com.au, where you can listen to past episodes, information on each of our guests, and also on the show itself. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram with the handle The Motor Dream, and you can start a conversation about your dream garage by using the hashtag The Motor Dream. Or better still, drop us a line about what your dream garage would be at themotordream@beastproductions.com.au. Lastly, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music. Thank you again for listening to this special Easter edition of the Motor Dream Podcast. And please, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, be it Easter, Christmas, or during any public holiday period, or if you're going away on a long trip, please drive safely on the roads wherever you go. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time, this time with Josh Buchan, so stay tuned for that episode. Until then, we'll see you next time on the Motor Dream Podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Motor Dream Podcast. This series is proudly produced by Beast Productions.